Gigantamax and Dynamax Pokemon. What's the difference between the two? Well, today we will find that out together here in Pokemon GO, as they really have difference between the two. Alright, so hi to all of you guys. So yes, let me go to bring my screen up and show you guys all my Dynamax and Gigantamax Pokemon. And there are three things that the Dynamax and Gigantamax Pokemon, they actually have a difference. The most obvious one that doesn't need to be said at all is obviously the name of the Pokemon. The Dynamax and Gigantamax, they're different. But in terms of power, damage, and usability, what's the difference? Well, let's go ahead to check things out first. So the first, one of the most obvious one also, let's go ahead and take a look at my Dynamax and Gigantamax Blastoise. So this is my Dynamax Blastoise, this is my Gigantamax. So there are two ways to look at it to know that whether they are Dynamax or Gigantamax. One is to look at the name at the very bottom of the word water, that's the typing of the Pokemon. It shows there Dynamax, this one would show Gigantamax at the very bottom of the Pokemon. Another way is if you're in your storage, you can see that the Dynamax and the Gigantamax symbol, they are different. The one that is a solid red, it means that it's a Gigantamax. The one that has like a white in the middle, it means it is the Dynamax. Alright, so I'll show you guys an example. If you see Dynamax over here, all of them, the symbol of the Dynamax, they are not solid red. But if you actually look at the Gigantamax one, alright, you can see it's solid red. So that's how to know whether they are different in terms of how they look like in your storage, first of all. So the first thing that I would say that they are different is aesthetically wise, they actually would look different when they actually Dynamax or Gigantamax. So that only happens when you're in a max battle and you are able to Dynamax or Gigantamax. They literally look different from I guess each other. The Gigantamax one looks, I guess, more scary, more powerful looking, and in fact that's also the key point over here. So since they look different, actually they really function relatively differently in two ways. First, the second difference is the fact that actually for Gigantamax Pokemon versus Dynamax Pokemon, their stats are the same, alright? They actually have access to the same moves, meaning if you were to try and use our Elite Fast TM, they both have Water Gun and Bite, alright? So there's no difference in that, they have Water Gun and Bite. So if we were to use Elite Charge DM also, yep, we got Hydro Cannon, Flash Cannon, Ice Beam, Skull Bash, and also Hydro Pump, which is what I'm having over here. Whereas this Blastoise, if I were to use my Elite Charge DM, same thing, it also has Hydro Cannon, Flash Cannon, Ice Beam, and Skull Bash. So what is the difference then in terms of how much damage each of them deal? Well, we're only taking a look at Blastoise, but I'll show you guys Charizard later on also. We do have other Gigantamax Pokemon also to look at, but we'll only be looking at these two particular Pokemon. So the first thing though is even if we look at the max moves, alright, all of them actually have access to Max Guard and Max Spirit, alright, both have access to Max Guard and Max Spirit. However, the thing that's different is the max attack. I'm talking about the Max Geyser in this situation, or the Gigantamax, it will be the G-Max Cannondeer. So the Max Guard and the Max Spirit, they function the same. So basically at max level, level 3, it basically reduces damage by 60 each time you use it. So 60, 120, and 180 if it's at max level. If it's at level 1 for the Max Guard, it would then reduce the damage by 20 each time you use. So 20, 40, and 60. Whereas for the Max Spirit, it heals up 16% of the health based off the health of your own Pokemon. So 16% of 160 hit points for this Blastoise, it heal that amount not just to you but your own ally Pokemon. If you guys also see there's a question mark over there on the right, you can tap the question mark. It explains to you guys in a bit. Max moves can be used when battling Gigantamax and Dynamax Pokemon in the power spot, and it explains all this. So Max Spirit raises the spirits of the user and allied Pokemon, recovering their HP, their hit points. So that's the thing. So if you tap here, you can see over on the top there, heal user and allied Pokemon. Alright, Max Guard, I cannot tap it anymore because I've already maxed it out. But if you tap the move, you can see unleash an extra powerful charge attack. So the thing is, The Max Guard and Max Spirit, they function exactly the same for Dynamax and Gigantamax, so there's totally no difference. Now is when the difference comes in. So G-Max Cannondeer, alright, and the Max Geyser, alright, they are both different moves already. You guys can see clearly by the name, despite the fact both of them actually having Water Gun, because G-Max, alright, or Gigantamax Pokemon actually have a fixed G-Max move. So once it's locked into that Pokemon, it cannot be changed at all. And the fact that actually the G-Max, the max attack, is actually stronger than the regular non-G-Max attack itself. So how much stronger? I'll tell you guys this though. At level 1, alright, for assuming both of them are max attack level 1, the Max Geyser would do 150 damage, and then for the base power 150, whereas for the G-Max Cannondeer it's additional 100 on top of that, meaning 250. So every time when you upgrade also, it increases the attack damage even further. And whatever the case is, at the equal level, meaning if it's max level or level 2 or level 1, the G-Max attack does 100 extra damage as compared to the non-G-Max attack, the Max Geyser. Essentially what I'm saying is the G-Max moves does way more damage as compared to the non-G-Max move. So the typing of course will be fixed for the G-Max because it's already a water type there, and you cannot change that, because even if you do change the fast move, oh yeah, for those of you who didn't know, in order to change the typing of the max attack, this only applies to the Dynamax Pokemon, yeah? Alright, so you guys can see I'm having Water Gun and Hydro Pump over there. If I were to change the Water Gun to get Bite, Bite is a dark type move. Now I get Max Darkness. Alright, so I can use a dark type move if I were to use the Dynamax Blastoise with Bite. Yep, we can do that. We do super effective to Psychic type Pokemon, including Metagross, Dynamax Beldum. Whereas for the Blastoise, for the G-Max Blastoise, even if we do change the fast move from Water Gun to Bite, okay, the G-Max move still stays as G-Max Cannondeer and still a water type. You guys can see the typing actually still is a water symbol over there. This one changes to like a moon, like a crescent moon. So it's basically a dark typing move right now for the Dynamax. So that's the second thing that's the difference basically. The third thing that's different. Basically the typing actually changes in terms of what's available for the Dynamax and also the Gigantamax. So this is just one example. Alright, that if we were to change the typing, the fast move, sorry, of the Dynamax, the typing do change for the G-Max attack itself. Alright, I'm so sorry guys, I'm down with a little bit of cold, so I'm trying my best to talk over here. I have a bit of sore throat too, but don't worry about me, I'm totally fine. Alright, so you guys can see the Blastoise, there would be a difference. So another Pokemon that I would say also would have a difference, because there are currently a handful of Pokemon that have both Dynamax and Gigantamax, would also be Charizard. But before we go into that though, I'd like to show you guys Lapras. So Lapras, alright, you guys can see this is the one that I used in previous videos before, and it has access to Water Gun, but it uses G-Max Resonance. You guys can see the symbol over there. It looks like some sharp, like a flower looking thing. It's actually an ice typing. You guys can see over here the shard, water and ice. So the ice typing symbol will be over there. So the G-Max Resonance is an ice typing G-Max move, and like I said, it would not be able to be changed. Even if I change it, yeah, currently it's Water Gun. Alright, so it should supposed to have a water type max attack or G-Max move, but it doesn't have that. So the Gigantamax, the max attacks cannot be changed, but the Dynamax ones can. Okay, so if we were to go back to the Charizard over here, alright, so assuming you need flying type attack to actually do double super effective damage, example to Phalanx. Alright, Phalanx is double weak, it is weak to flying, alright, but not weak to fire. So you will want to use a flying type move. So this is the G-Max Charizard, Gigantamax Charizard, alright, with Fire Spin and Overheat with G-Max Wildfire, whereas the other one is the Dynamax Charizard with Fire Spin, Overheat and Max Flare. Alright, so if I were to change the fast move on my Gigantamax, alright, remember it has G-Max Wildfire, same thing if I were to change it, boom, air slash, nope, the G-Max is still there, and it's still the fire typing. You can see the symbol it's still the fire typing over there. But if we were to go to the Dynamax one, alright, you can see fire spin overheat, and we were to change the fire spin to air slash, alright, boom. Now I have max airstream. So basically I will be able to do flying typing max attack when I Dynamax, as compared to just fire type. So that is the difference. So it depends in certain situation that the Gigantamax will be more useful than the Dynamax, vice versa, the Dynamax will be more useful than the Gigantamax. So it really depends. So I will also say this though, every single Pokemon can Dynamax except Zacian and Zamazenta, but there are only selected Pokemon that can Gigantamax. So it's ideal to know which Pokemon can Gigantamax, and those are the ones that you really want to go after. In the future, I probably will come out with a list of Pokemon that can be Gigantamax. I mean, online there are also sources for that too. But I'll come out with a list and tell you guys which are the top tier ones we should go after in the future. But as of now, you guys can see for Metagross and even for Excadrill, because there's no like actual proper steel type like attackers in the future, or ground type Gigantamax in the future that will actually beat these two because of its moves and also stats. I think these two will literally be one of the best, but it might be overtaken because, like I said, the Gigantamax, the move deals 100 damage more than the non-Gigantamax moves. So hence it might be overtaken because of that factor. Alright, but that's to see in the future, because this basically are the best currently right now. But that's basically it in terms of whatever I'd like to share with you guys in this video in terms of the difference between Dynamax and Gigantamax Pokemon. If you guys found this video useful for yourself and for your community, definitely share this video out with your friends, as it will prove to be really helpful if you guys understand the difference between the Dynamax and Gigantamax Pokemon first. And at the same time, in the future, when you guys want to prepare your team, you definitely will be able to prepare either depending on the situation that you are in. Alright, so if that's it, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, but remember also to leave a like if you guys can on the video. Thank you so much. It just takes a few seconds to do that. And also, if you guys have not subscribed to the channel yet, I do daily Pokemon Go content with tutorials to actually share with you guys my knowledge and how you can improve the way you guys play Pokemon Go. But I'll see you guys in the next episode in the next video. Alright, so goodbye.